Good morning, my farmy friends. I wanted to show you guys something that I do here on the farm, maybe help you guys deal with this not very serious cold that we're dealing with right now. If you're north of me, maybe you have to deal with it. I know Cal has been getting some frost the last couple days, but they also know their property, particularly Audrey up there. Of course, she is the mango whiz. She knows her thing. She knows how to do it. She knows her property. She knows her climate. She knows what to do. She has tracked it. The way I track it here on this property is I take one of these. You see it's backwards because of the camera, but now it's the right way. I will walk around my property with this thing and stand in one specific spot and watch it change. So I did this earlier this morning and I had variations. I was up from 46, I was all the way up to 49. It depends where I go on the property. And those couple of degrees make all the difference in some cases, especially where I am. When you're a little bit further north, you know, you might have a little bit cooler conditions. But again, just you got to know your property. You got to know where it's cold. Like up here, this is where the mangoes are. That is a big Edwards, just now breaking bud. I think it's just about, yeah, it looks like I got some panicles up top there. It's just starting here now. But it was pretty cold last night, but nothing to do any damage. The lychee right here, young new growth, very tender, still completely fine. What I do is I look at this and then I look at the Weather Channel app and I look at the temperatures, and I have been doing that for 10 years. So I have it tracked pretty well. The Weather Channel app has been very reliable for me. I don't think it matters what app you use. I just think as long as you're consistent, then it will work. So up here, 48.4 I'm showing right now, and that's in this area. If I walk to the back of the property, it dropped down to like 46 a little while ago. That was 3 hours ago. So I don't know what it's going to do right now. I would imagine I would see a little cooler. But this has been my method, and I don't really have to do this anymore because I've tracked my property and the property adjacent to me many times. I notice right here I'm seeing things blowing around a little bit. That's probably going to be a colder spot when it's in those really, really chilly moments. It's going to be colder where the wind's ripping. So if you're in your front yard and there is a street right there, you're probably going to get a pretty good breeze coming ripping down that street. So you notice it just dropped right as I get here towards the back. It's starting to go down. It's just a little cooler back here, just a touch. But it's enough, you know, it jogs and varies. But a little digital thermometer like this is really, really handy tool, especially if you're new to your property and your food forest is young and it's not filled in yet and you haven't determined really where to put everything and why. I would highly recommend right now, especially this week, is great to get yourself a little digital thermometer and go track your property at the coldest times. It's usually going to be 7 a.m., 6 a.m. Just walk around and check all your spots. Middle, the edges, the sides, the front, the back, all of it. One year when we had a freeze here, I had 23 degrees up in the front of the property. And then I went up here on the hill on my neighbor's property, just about 300 feet away from where I had 26 and I had, or 23, and then I had 17 in another spot, and I went up there and I had 29. So massive, massive differences in just a couple hundred feet away from each other, just based on how much cover there is, how dense the tree cover is, how much ground cover you have, how many trees you have planted in one certain area to kind of keep everything thick and full. When they're thick and full, they hold temperature. I have seen a lot of people just losing their minds about this cold and this polar vortex and all of this 19 degrees. That is not happening. That's not happening. Maybe up in way up in North Florida Panhandle, maybe, but we're in Central Florida. We're not seeing 19 degrees. Not this week, not next week. We're not freezing here. A couple hours north of me, you might see some frost. But again, you got to know your property. I'm sure there's a property right here in Deltona and DeLand that will see some frost when I don't. But I will see some frost when others don't. So you just got to be proactive. And I think this is it. Look, I just came up front here. And look at the difference. 50. Just being up front. It was 46 earlier, now 48. Now we're up at 50 just being in the front. Where it's, and it just dropped right in the driveway. I can feel a breeze right here. It's so fun to do this because you can see exactly what's happening. I haven't covered anything at all. I have done nothing. I'm not going to. I've been watching the forecast for the past 2 weeks, and there is absolutely nothing happening in my area that is threatening. 32 is my number. Anything off of 32, anything above, I'm not concerned. Not at all. I have lemon zest here is about to pop open and send me some fruits, and I am excited for this tree. This is potentially the best mango on the planet. Many people might agree. But you notice it's completely fine. And people have been talking about frost. But notice there's a big old jamun tree right next to it. There's a big patch of Mexican sunflower right next to it. There's a big mulberry right next to it. There's a big patch of chaya. There's a Barbados cherry. There's a big hairy looking banana with all these dead leaves right next to it. So this thing has friends. There's lots of insulation. There's lots of stuff here to keep in the heat. They all catch heat. Right behind me you can see all this Mexican sunflower. That's why it's there. All of this was carefully placed. I can show you right here. We planted 5 mangoes here this year. This was completely flat. We put in pineapple pleasure, and then I dropped in a big chunk of Mexican sunflower right there, and a big pile over there. I put a guava right next to it. Another big chunk of Mexican sunflower. There was a tolfo I grafted a few years ago. My buddy Vin's Food Forest Builds down in Port St. Lucie, he brought me this scion of some really, really stellar fruit off of a tree that he brought me some fruits from, and now I have that. That's awesome. Thank you, Vin. Another guava just for filler space because it's gonna be smaller. Sweet tart is, in my opinion, the greatest mango in the world, but lots of people say lemon zest. There's a big old chaya plant that fell over, but it creates good insulation, so I'll leave it there. And then the Mexican sunflower is thick, thick, thick. Another Tikal guava, juicy peach mango, massive amounts of Mexican sunflower. Like on it, in it. It's right together because they can stay snuggled up together and keep the heat in. There's another guava hiding right there, and that is P22 that Audrey gave me when I visited her in Ocala. It was a little bitty one in a 1-gallon pot, and she's looking beautiful now. But you can notice how thick this is in here. And it's very lovely and comfortable right in here. I can put the thermometer down here on the ground. It's very nice up in here. So this is my method. If anyone is struggling with growing cold sensitive trees and worrying about protecting your trees, you can't leave a tree out in the middle of field itself. The best analogy I could ever make is if you stand in the middle of a football field by yourself and it's 32 degrees, you are going to have a very, very rough night. If you and 10 of your friends huddle up together in that very same football field on that very same 32 degree night, it's going to be a whole different situation. Everyone keeps each other warm. It's the same thing with these plants. Bananas are wonderful. I use them all over the place for that exact purpose. And the Mexican sunflower has just been the cornerstone behind this project of doing subtropicals and tropicals in a not really tropical environment because it keeps so much heat in. This plant right behind me, the Costa Scaber ginger, also grows like crazy, fills in very thick and holds through the winter. That one right there, the Turk's cap hibiscus, another one, gets huge, looks great, fills in a spot, and keeps heat in. Right here I have, this is a big sweet almond, and there's my Turk's Cap hibiscus, and here is Glen Mango. We also happen to have fire pit right here, so that takes care of that mango, these guavas, potentially the cecropia tree that is right there, but I'm not honestly that concerned with that one. If I lose all that top growth, it doesn't matter. I have to cut it down anyway. But I want to see you guys not so scared of cold weather, because it is not as big a deal as it needs to be. Watch your weather report, watch your temperatures, watch closely. They change daily. It was slated to be 33. I believe it was today or tomorrow, and tonight it was 39. So 6 degrees difference is far away from freezing. So those are my methods, and that's how I get her done. So get yourself one of these. You will thank yourself.